Hey ladies, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to hop on before we get started tonight. Hope everybody's had an awesome weekend. It's Monday. How are we doing with the time change? I know, if you have little ones, the downside is that they get up super early, but you can get away with putting them to bed early. We figured out. So, hey Tansy, hey Jillian, hey Mary Kay. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started for tonight. So again, I just kind of want to recap what we're doing. Every Monday, I'll be going live with kind of like the message of the week and an action step for the week that we can apply to our lives to have more peace. So as you're coming on, I want to hear from you. Like if you, if you have been doing the 3 to peace that we've been talking about, post, let me know how it's going. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll recap that really fast. So 3 to peace is going to be like our 60-day mantra, okay? Or really like our focus over the next couple months. Hey, Donna. So get you a journal of some kind. Here's mine. Okay, that is going to be for your Peace Please journey. Okay, so this can be, if you're a phone person, you can definitely do it on your phone. Hey, Abby. Hey, Katie. Hey, Patricia. I personally am like a pen and paper girl. I'm old school that way. But anyway, so let me know what you're using to track everything. But the 3 to peace is something that we're going to do. It's 3 things every day that we incorporate, so that at the end, really just have something to measure and see how far we've come. Just something to focus on every day to stay grounded in peace. So the first is get up with gratitude. So you're going to wake up and you're going to write down 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 blessings in your life. It can be big or small. I love hearing some of you are just finding joy in like the small things. That's awesome. Number 2 is to recite those identity affirmations. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a link in this group called Files. And you will see like anytime that I give you some kind of worksheet to help you along the way, it's going to be listed under Files. But there's one in there called Identity Affirmations Bookmark. So you can print it off. It has all kinds of I am declarations that are going to help you just stay rooted in who you are. Because remember, the first step to peace is really being rooted in your identity. And so they're all scripture based. And that's your second step of every day is to just declare those out loud, those I am statements, so that they get down deep into your bones. So that's the second thing. And then the third is what we call peace on your pillow. And peace on your pillow is where right before you put your head on your pillow at night, so easy to remember, you're going to write down 3 things that are going to give you peace when you put your head on the pillow. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those today. But if you tuned in earlier, we went through this Wheel of Life activity, okay? So give me some hearts. Let me know. I want to hear your feedback. Like I said, this is community. So even though I'm talking, I want to hear from you and see like what you're getting from that. So we're going to touch more on that tonight. So again, if you're new and you're like, what is she talking about? Wheel of Life is a form that looks like this. And the instructions on that and that file is also listed under Files in the group. But what you're going to do, there's 8 values listed here: health, friends and family, significant other, personal growth or spiritual growth. You can make it spiritual growth. That's what I did. Fun and leisure, home environment, career, and money. And so what you're going to do with those are you're going to identify the top 3 that hold the most importance to you. Okay. And we are going to focus on doing 1 thing a day in each of those 3 categories. Hey, Anne. All right. So I am interested to know, like, if you filled out your Wheel of Life, if you haven't, no big deal. You can do it at any time. I recommend sooner than later. But if you have, I want to hear some feedback from you guys. Or you ladies, I guess that's my New Jersey side coming out a little bit. But I want to hear some feedback, like if you want to share what your top 3 are. I'm going to ask you a few questions here in a minute, so we can interact around that. But before we get into like our action step and deeper into the wheel of life, I did want to share more of a story. And so this one may be something that a lot of you have heard again and again and again and again and again. But, if you're newer to like a faith journey, kind of like I was, then again, I told y'all on my first video, like I'm just going to start from scratch, like nobody knows anything. Okay. So I wanted to share with you like a story from the Bible that I thought would be really good for what we are talking about this week. Like laying down all the million to-dos and focusing on what's most important. And some of you might already know where I'm going with that. But wanted to just share just a quick story and like reminder of the story of Martha and Mary. Okay. So I think that like at some point in time, any female speaker in ministry probably talks about this. So again, for some of you, this may be, I might sound like a broken record, but it is a good reminder for all of us. So if you are not familiar with this story, basically as Jesus was walking the earth and with his disciples, he came upon a village and met a woman named Martha. Okay, so just imagine yourself, meeting Jesus and, hearing all these amazing stories about him. And he comes to her home, and her sister Mary is there. Okay. So Martha and hey, throw me some hearts or like type in Martha if you tend to lean towards Martha here, because I have been very guilty and I still can be guilty of being a Martha. But basically Martha was like hustling in the kitchen and preparing all the food and making sure everything was perfect. The environment was perfect for Jesus to be in. And how many of us do this, ladies? How many of us, like, we know company's coming over, so it's time to bust out the dust rags and time to, bust out the, like, grandma's cookbook, like making everything perfect, right? Bring out all the fine china. Like, I'm sure there wasn't fine china back then, but you get what I'm saying. So again, this is what Martha is focused on, is creating a perfect environment and doing all the right to-dos. Not to say that she was coming from a bad place, but that is what she placed her emphasis on and importance on. And so, Mary, on the other hand, her sister, is just hanging out in the living room, sitting at the feet of Jesus, and just absorbing every word he has to say. So how many of us can relate to how Martha probably was feeling at this point? Like, man, I am just slaving away in this kitchen and my sister is over here just hanging out. Hey, Charlie, no worries, girl. Welcome. How many of you can kind of like maybe understand how Martha's felt, or, you've been there, that's where you would lean. So she goes to Jesus and she says, Jesus, like, do you not see my sister has left me to do all of these things? Do you not see, like, she's in there hanging out with you and I'm slaving away in here in the kitchen preparing all this food. Tell her to come and help me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, right? And some of you may already know how he responds. And he responds, Martha, Martha. It makes me think of the Brady Bunch. Martha, or that's Marsha, just kidding. But anyway, well, same tone. But, Martha, Martha, you are worried about many things, is what he tells her. You're worried about many things, but only one is needed. And your sister Mary has chosen it. And wow, I really don't think that we see, I'm sure, I don't know how I would feel in that moment if I was Martha. Like, really? Like, I thought I was doing all the right things because I'm doing all the to-dos, all the things that we think we need to be doing, right? But really, Mary was doing the right thing. She was sitting at the feet of Jesus and she was taking in everything that he had to say. She was present. And how many of us can relate? I feel like this is such a good story, especially going into the holidays, because most of us are going to be slaving away in a kitchen, probably. And maybe it's not your sister, but maybe it's her husband in the other room watching football. I don't know. But it can be so easy to kind of get almost like that self-righteous mentality. And so, but Jesus says that's not what we should be worried about. And so, some interpretations of that is, that the one thing that we're supposed to do is listen to him. And, I was reading and came across this great interpretation that spiritual values are more important than material business. Oh my gosh. I don't know about y'all, but like, seriously, recovering performance productivity addict here. Okay, still in process. And so I can so relate to that. Let me see what you said, Charlie. You can get so caught up in serving and not take that time to take in what's important. It's so hard. Yes, especially when you feel like serving is a good thing, and it is. But you know what, guys? If it is good enough for Jesus, then it's good enough for me. And I think about that. How many times have you meant well in something, and you're going about your maybe, like I said, it's for the holidays, a great thing to compare it to. Hey mom, because we're getting into that season. But how many times have you been rushing around trying to do everything for everybody, and really, like, who told you to do that? I remember one of the most powerful studies that I ever did was a Beth Moore study. Hey, Haley. And one of the questions she said is, anytime we hear something in our life, the number one question we need to, one of the questions, there were several, but one of the main ones was, who told you that? And she made a great point that, maybe it was like a disrespectful remark somebody made to you, or, just something that hurt even, or made you feel pressure. And, what Beth Moore was saying was, if the answer to that does not point back to God, even if, let's say, a mentor told you that, but if God didn't tell the mentor to tell you that, if it didn't originate back to God, then it's not truth. And that was so eye-opening for me. So, I think of Martha in this situation, and it's like, here she is doing all the things that she thinks she needs to do, cooking in the kitchen, cleaning and getting all the fine china and dusting the cobwebs. And really, who told her to do that? It wasn't God. So, I just thought that was a good story to be reminded of as we go into this season. And like I said, if it is good enough for Jesus, that like I am supposed to be, like that is supposed to be where I stay rooted, and it's not in the 50 million to-dos. And, making sure like you can lick off my floors because they're clean. Like, that's good enough for me. I don't know about y'all. So tell me your thoughts. How to, like I said, can you relate more to Martha or Mary? Another thing I think is, if our goal is to be more like him, I think of this often when I can get into my Martha mode. And, who else gets into a Martha mode? I think it could be pretty common for us to go there. But I know sometimes for me, I can look a little bit chaotic. Like, if you were in my house, some of you on here are family members, and you have seen me, like, before the first birthday party when I was trying to do everything Pinterest theme and just like something that should be a fun event, I'm bringing so much stress into because it has to be perfect, right? So it's like, it was like my family would see all this chaotic side of Miriam, and then guests come, and you know how it is, like, you could put on the face and you're good to go. But like, yeah, my family knew the real deal behind the scenes before. And I just think of, if our goal is to be more like Jesus, and I cannot think of, like, if I try to get a vision of Jesus acting like crazy, chaotic Miriam, like, I don't see that. Like, you don't think of Jesus and think chaos. Like, oh, I gotta go heal the blind man, and oh, I gotta be over here, and I gotta, I gotta do this and do that and be here for all my disciples. Like, no, like, he was peace. Like, he radiated peace. And so, just like I said, just a good biblical reminder of keeping the first things first, because we are in such a busy world. Martha on steroids. That is awesome, Victoria. Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone there. Martha on steroids. I love it. So just wanted to share that as just a reminder again of what the expectation is, because it can be easy for us to fall into the expectations that the world sets on us, or that we feel the world sets on us. Man, I feel like, I can't imagine. What if Martha had Pinterest? Can you only imagine? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get back to our wheel of life. So again, Wheel of Life, if you missed the video before, if you missed the instructions on this, again, these are just 8 values, areas of your life that we are focusing in on, more as an awareness activity, okay? So I had y'all all kind of like grade yourself in each category, but I also, one of the most important things were for you to identify what the 3 most important ones for you are. I want to go back and read some. Yeah, I see a lot of Marthas. But y'all, let's make our focus on being more like Mary this year. How about that? Sherry said it's very counter to our culture to be like Mary. You're so spot on. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I really wanted to start this group. Because when we are going about it and what feels like we're alone, it's hard, it's hard. But my friend Ashley, I think I saw her pop on. I met her. Y'all are going to meet her soon. She's amazing. I met her at a church retreat recently, and she has an awesome podcast. And one of them is called Let's Be Weird Together. And I love that. So I'm just going to bring that into this group. Let's just be weird together and try to be more like Mary. How about that? So again, on your wheel of life, I just wanted to kind of go through some questions, and we're actually going to, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? I get mom brain this time of the day. We're going to keep digging into that. Maybe not really the word I was looking for, but you get what I'm saying. We're going to keep working on that this week. We'll have kind of a whole different action step for next week. We're going to be really, next week's focus is going to be, again, on your identity, but really battling the lies that we tell ourselves. So you won't want to miss that. But for today, I posted a few questions earlier, so just wanted to go through and see who was open to sharing some feedback on those. So on your wheel of life, as you fill that out, what were some, if anybody feels comfortable, you can type here in the comments, what were the top 3 of those values that, that were the most important to you. So there were 8 total. And I did tell you ladies that if there was one on there that didn't really resonate with your life at all, you can adjust it. So maybe for I know a lot of my stay-at-home mom friends, where it said career, they put mom life. That's basically a career that we don't get paid for. So, you can adjust that. And then on the personal growth side, I really put that as spiritual growth. So you can adjust them, but for me, and I'm just going to give you ladies a time to, share those top 3 if you'd like to. Don't ever feel pressured to do so. It's a place for community, but I realize some of these things will be personal too. So you're welcome to if you want, but don't feel pressured. Sarah, you said God, husband, kids. Same for mine in that order. And so, like I said, keep sharing those top 3. So this is where our focus comes in for the peace on your pillow. So Sarah, when you go into your peace journal at night, then the 3 things that you should write down is one thing that you did to feed into that relationship with God today, one thing that you did to feed into the relationship with your husband, and one thing that you did to feed into the relationship with your kids. So ladies, if we get into Martha mode and we're thinking we have to do 50,000 things, then we just need to be reminded, no, we don't. We're just going to focus on doing one thing that fed into our top 3. Okay. So even if you have a 50 million to-do lists left, you can celebrate that you kept your first things first. Okay, so that's the goal. That is the goal for our Peace on the Pillow activity. Charlie, you said spiritual life, relationship with husband, and role as a mother. Yes. So funny. We're like my friends, like a lot of us are on the same, on the same ones there. So great. I love hearing y'all's top three. So I'd love to also hear from you. What are some things that you currently do to spend time in these areas? So something we're going to dig into this week that will help with this. So it's great that we've done the identification process. All right. We've identified what those areas are. But this week, our focus is going to be on what are some things that we can do to really make sure that we're feeding into those top three. And I'm going to be posting another file for you ladies that can kind of be like your action for the week. And it's going to be an action brainstorming worksheet. And what you're going to see on here is there's a column for stop, do less, keep doing, do more, and start. So for example, let's just say health is one of your top three, because that is a common top three as well. Then, sorry, I feel like I should have put more dry shampoo. I'm so sorry. That's totally has nothing to do with peace, but I keep messing with my hair. I'll watch it tonight. Probably should put that on my start list. But anyway, it didn't apply to God, my husband, or my kids, right? Okay, so on stop, so here's the cool thing with our Peace on the Pillow. It might not even always be that we're doing something, but sometimes it might be that we stopped doing something, okay? So a way to feed into your health, it may not necessarily always be, oh, I exercised 30 minutes today, but it could be that I stopped eating sugar. I don't know. So it can, like those can be things that you add. So maybe for you, it's like stop, or maybe it's stop obsessing over my weight. Stop letting my weight define me. That's definitely something that you would want to stop, right? Maybe do less of eating sugar. Okay, so do less, eating sugar, do less fast food. Keep doing what is something, and so you're just going to write these down. There's actually 4 categories, so you kind of get a bonus. So I would do in this one, do your top one. So for those of you that said spiritual life, go through here for your spiritual life, then for your husband, then for your kids. And then you get a bonus in there. So if you want to take it to 4, great, you can. Thank you, Sarah. Charlie, you said you applied this today and it really made a difference. Sorry, I'm reading this later. What did you apply? The Peace on the Pillow? Is that what you're talking about? Like focusing on your top 3? Because that's awesome. Whatever it is, it's awesome, but I just want to make sure I understand what it is. So, hey, Andrea. Okay, so you're going to go through that worksheet over the course of this week. Awesome, Charlie. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to know that. I love that. I love that y'all are already starting to see, honestly, reading some of the things y'all say, it has me tearing up, because I just love that there's already transformation, and we're only 4 days in, y'all. That's so awesome. I cannot wait to see where we all end up on January 1st. It's just going to be so good. Focusing on that and putting something into each, Charlie. Yeah, so good. So good. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do for the week. So maybe for you, if it's your spouse, maybe your spouse or your significant other is in one of your top 3, then maybe it's do less nagging. I know I probably need to do that. And put something that you keep doing. So again, when you do your Peace on the Pillow, it doesn't always have to be something that you have to continuously start doing. Sometimes you can write down something that you stopped doing, and celebrate that. Okay. So it's still feeding into that area positively. So does that make sense, everybody? Kind of how to do the Wheel of Life and what we're looking at. So I want you guys to have an idea bank, so that as you're doing your Peace on your Pillow and you're focusing on your top 3, that, let's be real. Some days we're just tired and we don't have the mental energy to think of certain things. So if you can have an idea bank of things that will feed into those areas, it can just be a go-to list of oh man, I'm getting towards the end of my day and I really haven't done anything for my hubby today. So go to your idea bank, and that's where this action worksheet can really come into play and help you. So again, I will be posting this in the files right after we're done with this message for tonight. But tell me your thoughts on all that, y'all. Andrea, guilty about the nagging. I'm sure you are not alone. Who else has been there, right? Okay, so that action step is really going to help you know what actions to take that will support your piece on your pillow. Okay, focusing in on your top 3. And we're going to be, we're going to be walking into January like some Marys. What do y'all think about that? Okay, so we talked about identifying your top 3. How do you currently spend time in those areas? How would you like to spend more time in your top 3 areas? So again, this action sheet is going to support that. And then I think I put on there, how could you make space for these changes in your life? So these are just questions that are good to kind of consider throughout the week. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Ash. What's up, girl? I have known her since 2nd grade. Probably my longest friend. So, all right. So, how can you make space for these changes? So that, again, that action worksheet is going to help you in all of that. One question that I do want to get before we close out for the night is, was anybody surprised? So if you filled in your wheel of life, here's mine. Okay. So you go through the different areas and you're basically, the lines might make it confusing. Y'all, just to make this super easy, all you are doing is giving yourself a score in each of the categories of how satisfied you are in that area of your life right now. All right. On a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 is you're totally not satisfied. 10 is you're completely satisfied and it could not be better. Okay. So that's all you're doing. Don't, if the drawing the lines in stresses you out, just write the number that you would grade yourself on. Okay. I just want to make sure that makes sense because I did have some questions around that. So we're just going through each of the 8 and grading yourself 0 to 10. And, I want to share, so I want to ask you ladies, were there any surprises that came up to you when you did this Wheel of Life activity? And as you're typing in the comments, I'll share a few for me. Maybe they were similar to you. But 2 of my biggest takeaways when doing this. So I just recently did this on October 25th. So I did this a few days ago. And I had actually done this earlier this year. And earlier this year where I was in a very different place than I am now, not as much peace, still trying to come down off of being addicted to performance and productivity and all of that, never feeling like enough was enough. And so my takeaway at that time was that I actually, my numbers were so much lower. Okay. I don't know that I really had any numbers over a 5 or a 6. Hey, Michelle, y'all just say hey as you pop on here. I'm seeing some of your names pop up. So my numbers were super low, but at that time, I wasn't doing anything to be rooted in who I was. I was basing all of my strength on myself. I shared this in my MOPS group the other day, but it was I was relying on my own strength based on what I could do with my own 2 hands, in my own strength, instead of being rooted in I am, the great I am. And so it just never felt like enough was enough. So I think under money, it was probably a 2 because I hadn't been working. I'd lost the company. I hadn't been working. I hadn't produced a paycheck in a very long time, for the first time since I was 16. And so for me, it was oh, we didn't have enough. And so I had a low number, but we haven't made any more money than we did at the point when I filled this out last, but I gave myself a 6 now because I don't measure it in how much money we have now. I measure it in how we manage our money. And I can find ways to be content, even though maybe we've had to say no to things that we didn't used to have to say no to. I'm okay with that. I'm in a different mindset now. And so that was a big aha for me. Let me see what you guys say. So Charlie said, shocked by how low I rated the things I consider to be most important. Girl, that was going to be the next thing that I said. Hey, Ashley, that was going to be my second takeaway. I was blown away when I would sit here and tell you that, you know, God, my relationship with my husband, and then my relationship with my kids were the top 3 most important things in my life. But when I looked at the other areas, it was like I had put the top 3 on the back burner. And I thought, well, when I can get my health to this point, or when I can get my finances to this point, or when I get my career to this point, then that will free me up to pour back into what was most important. And that's so backwards, y'all. It's so backwards. And that can be another thing that's like, different than what the culture says now. I don't know, but I can completely relate to that, Charlie. Did anybody else notice that the areas that were most important, held the most value to us, your numbers were actually much lower in? So if that's you, I just want to give you some good news in that the only way you can go is up, but it's awareness. So any of the things we do, ladies, this is not to create any shame or guilt or make you be like, man, I'm such a bad wife, or I'm such a bad mom. No. This is a tool. This is a tool for us to be like, man, that's where I was, but I can't wait to fill this out again in January because I know how much I'm going to grow. So don't be beating yourselves up. Okay. If your numbers aren't where you want them, this again is just for awareness. But that is pretty much everything that I had for you ladies tonight. Unless anybody has any questions or any other shares, if you end up watching the replay, I'd still love to hear your takeaways from it. So let me know like how the Wheel of Life is supporting you. Let me know how your 3 to Peace is going. And get ready. Stay tuned. We're going to be having our first giveaway this coming Friday. So I'll be posting more about that. Sherry says, I'm so guilty of that because I tend to place myself at the bottom of the list. It can be like punishing myself. Yeah, absolutely. It's a fine line in, you know, trying to realize when, I think sometimes we don't take care of ourselves because we feel like that's being selfish, and we feel like what we're supposed to do is to serve everybody else. And we are called to serve, and that is a big part, but we are not called to overcommit ourselves to the point that we are not in a good place ourselves, because honestly, that doesn't pour out the best version of ourselves. And the best example of ourselves. You know, we don't carry around this peacefulness that draws others in. And so, Sherry, I can totally relate to that. All right, ladies. Well, I don't see any other comments right now, but I will check back. I love the support that y'all are all giving each other. Like, I know a lot of you don't even know each other, and I just love that. So keep that up. It's beautiful to watch. And let me know if you have any questions. But again, for this week, keep doing your 3 to Peace. Get up with gratitude. Do your identity affirmations. And then do your peace on your pillow. All right. And then if you haven't already, do the Wheel of Life. You need to do that anyways to do your peace on your pillow. Do the Wheel of Life and incorporate that action worksheet so you know like how you can add onto that. And thank you, ladies, for joining live or catching the replay. Absolutely, Charlie. Like, this is so fun and brings energy to me, believe it or not. So I love this time. And if it helps you, ladies, like, makes my heart happy. So love y'all. Have a great rest of the day or night. I guess I'm about to go to bed. But have a good one, and stay tuned, like I said, for more announcements and things for the upcoming week and our giveaway Friday. All right. Talk to you ladies soon. Bye.